privately because of safety concerns. Dr. Rowley's attempt to deflect in a negative way on the history of this action is untrue. Recall that he brought fake emails to the parliament saying he was not closing down Petrochin and falsely claimed that he intervened he did not intervene in the police.
Okay.
That was the effect.
Mr. Arouca, you just spoke about a piece of legislation.
The whistleblower.
The communication, the interception.
Interception Communication Act.
Right. And in reading, you spoke about where Mrs. Bissar would have mentioned that a whistleblower would have informed about this Pegasus.
So let me tell you what is dangerous.
Is the whistleblower legislation, did Mrs. Bissar and the UNC support the whistleblower?
They never did.
They never did.
They never did.
How does someone who wants the country to accept her as a credible individual,
as an alternative to
a credible opposition,
a government in wait.
A government in waiting. How do you expect people to trust you when you did not support whistleblower legislation, but comes to the people and tell the people that a whistleblower provided you with the information? What do you think of a person like that?
All right, so let me juxtapose what Kamala is calling whistleblower to what the Proceeds of Crime Act says.
Right.
About what Kamala called whistleblower. Tipping off. And I have here.
Go right ahead.
Tipping off. 10 of 2020, section 55(1), subsection A. A person commits an offense if he knows or suspects that a disclosure herein referred to as a disclosure has been made to a police officer or a designated authority under section 47, 48, 49. Section B says, he discloses to anyone other than an authorized person information or of any matter which is likely to prejudice an investigation which might be conducted following this disclosure. Kamala is calling a serious offense of tipping off a whistleblower. If a person discloses to Kamala, who is not authorized to collect this information or accept this information, he commits an offense under the Proceeds of Crime Act.
Right.
And Kamala referred. Yeah. Right. So, I want persons to be careful with when Mrs. Bissar makes statements, because her statements trips laws that you may not.
The woman is reckless. The woman is reckless and she's mischievous, Mr. Arouca. We have to call it for what it is. Because again, I want to go back to that issue that I raised with you about her coming to the nation and saying that we are being spied upon, and again, the use of the word spying, again, rather than using the word, rather than using the interpretation.
The communication, interception of communication act.
Mr. Arouca, so you have to be highly irresponsible, you have to be bankrupt, you have to be desperate, and no doubt you have to be a woman scorned.
All right, so
the way in which Kamala Bissar has been scorned, has been rejected by the electorate of this country. Mr. Arouca, based on what you just read here, what you just told our viewers, it is clear to my mind that this is a woman who is scared. She's scared of something. What is Kamala Bissar scared of? Because a couple hours ago, I don't think it's 24 hours as yet.
No, it wasn't.
I would have seen on social media or heard the news that we have some British investigators here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
And I am now starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together where the opposition leader, or why she came and made this claim that she made, because she was taken front. She was aware that these investigators are here, and so she was taken
or
front.
on their way here.
Or on their way here. Well, my report is that they are here.
She taken front.
She's taken
before
front.
take.
Before front take her. You can
we ought to have been curious as to where did all of this come from. It's this morning we woke up to where it actually came from. That Kamala, having her tentacles in everybody's business in Trinidad and Tobago, as a former prime minister, having persons supporting her on the low, would have gotten wind that these investigations are underway and they'll be here soon. So she start a bacchanal about spying, and in the process, in the process, mixing law with mischief. For persons who none the wiser. There is no police officer who is authorized to do a job under the Interception of Communication Act that can give information. She's not authorized to collect information, no matter how he feels about it. If he does that, the Proceeds of Crime Act says that he have breached section 51, subsection 2B. Of the Proceeds of Crime Act. Okay. Now there's also the SSA Act, the SSA Act, which speaks specifically of that same offense. In other words, you cannot be working, your job is to intercept communication, and you feel that something is happening, and you give the information to an unauthorized person. That is not your function. You would have signed confidentiality clause.
And this unauthorized person,
as part of your agreement.
Yes, and this unauthorized person would have stated in her claims that she would have contacted.
Which is where the tipping off part comes in.
So that's what I'm telling you.
This is where the tipping off part comes in, because she's contacting persons who, for some reason, are under investigation,
might be under the radar. Yes.
And then what you're also tripping in this case is whatever the investigation is really about. Yes. Let us assume that it is about a narcotics case.
Yes.
Let us also assume that it's about gang-related incidents. You have tripped the Anti-Gang Act. You have tripped so many acts with this one single statement that Kamala have made.
Okay.
Because,
Yes, we want to go to a video. Sorry to cut you abruptly, Mr.
Yes.
Arouca.
Let me kind of pull up what video, in the meantime, so that I can...
And I think it's a video with Mrs. Bisesa making the claims, and it's about a 1 minute clipping, so we go to that right now.
You all about the Rowley government acquiring the Israeli software Pegasus program to hack into citizens' WhatsApp communications and other communications. Tonight I can confirm that government did in fact acquire this software, and they have been illegally spying on citizens, various social media platforms, WhatsApps, emails, and so on. A whistleblower has provided me with information regarding this widespread electronic spying. I've also been provided with names of persons who have been spied upon. However, we have been alerting persons privately because of safety concerns.
Was the video
of Mrs. Bisesa tripping two laws that I can identify off the bat. The Interception of Communication Act and the Proceeds of Crime Act. Two laws. You cannot call a person who, as far as we know, has as part of his job to intercept communication and bring the information to you. Yes. You are not authorized. You have just implicated him, and he implicated himself by giving the information to you. and they both should be the subject of police attention by now. I do not understand what kind of police service that is dealing with, because for a person to openly come out and double down on it every time, without you seeing some blue shirts coming to you to ask you, where did you get this from? We need to clear it up. We need to be sure that no law has been broken. Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar seems to be, to my mind, displaying a certain amount of lawlessness that for a long time have been perpetrated and tolerated. And I think it's because the authorities are afraid of the political pushback.
Yes.
Being called PNM police.
Yes.
Definitely. I think it's that, you know. Yes. Because if me or you made the same statements Mrs. Bissessar made, we ought to have seen the police coming into our homes seeking to get some information. Remember when Gary Gifford, a man called Gary Gifford, just vaguely, a reporter made some statements about Gary Gifford, and Gary Gifford sent a special part of the police service to the man home.
Yes.
I think
Professional
Standards Bureau.
Yeah.
To question the man if he have information of police doing crime.
That's the Breezan guy.
The Breezan guy. You reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So, you see, as compared to Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar, who have made statements on every platform that she can, alluding to possibly an investigation that may be on part of the police remit, and she have evidence, she have information. She's not supposed to have information, especially when it comes to this particular rule, the Interception of Communication Act. The Prime Minister himself would not be authorized to have such information in his hand, unless, of course, he's acting as the chairman of the National Security Council. Okay. Other than that, as a Prime Minister, I am not aware that he's authorized to have information under the Interception of Communication Act.
Interestingly, Mr. Arouca and viewers, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar named a number of persons and entities in the country that were being spied upon. And
that was everybody, you know.
How did you read my mind, Mr. Arouca?
Everybody. Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar.
The only thing that I noticed she left out, and which goes right back to the first part of your conversation about the interception of the communication bill or act or whatever. She left out that Pegasus was being used to spy on the criminal elements of the country. But the names she called were judges, the media. Help me.
Well, she called everybody, you know. Of course, political opponents.
Right. She even went as far as to call Faris Alwari. That raised a red flag for me, because I listened over to the tape today, and I said to myself, why would she include so many persons in this?
The net was a big net.
In this. It is because she wants to pander to the emotions of the society to win popularity and sympathy from the population.
But not only that, Juliet, we must understand that also in this is the constitutional right to privacy, which was Kamala's argument in the whole thing. Right. You have a constitutional right, section 4 and 5 of the Constitution.
And again, she doesn't have the moral authority if we used to consider Cambridge Analytica and what they were doing.
Kamala don't have the moral authority to talk about constitutional rights to privacy, because Cambridge Analytica went down in history as the the roadmap for the destruction of everybody's constitutional right to privacy under Section 4 and 5. As a matter of fact, it went on as an international scandal and erosion of persons' right to privacy.
That's correct.
And the dangers of that is that Kamala wants us to believe that Mr. Wiley, and I want to play emphasis on the name Wiley, because when is the same technique I noticed Mr. MP Munilal using when he referring to serious allegations of criminal conduct.
Yes.
Calling Wiley. I noticed he calling the lady who come in here now. SRP. So that alerted me immediately to their mischief, because he started calling. It starts to try to depreciate the value of the persons and the conduct of the persons who are coming in here to do a professional job. So,
who are highly qualified.
International, all over the world. Their job is as forensic investigators to deal with matters of serious fraud and international fraud. And we must be careful that when, according to Dr. Rowley on our platform, don't take no evidence, don't take no support, don't take no advice from persons who have cocoa in the sun and telling you that there will be no rain. Rain set up, rain is about to fall. The weatherman doesn't tell you rain coming. They're telling you it ain't gonna rain because they have cocoa in sun. They want you to be, they want to mislead you into believing what you are seeing is not the truth. So when they done cry wolf, up come this morning of the forensic investigators, the British forensic investigators.
Don't go anywhere yet. We have to go for a break. And when we go for that break,
then we will introduce.
We will come back
to the
British investigators. Because the country has to understand why the opposition
you're hearing
leader is coming.
Where did this all come from?
Pandering to the sympathy and the emotions of the population, because she knows very well.
Juliet, we can simply put this into perspective. The last time the opposition leader spoke to us about being spied upon, she wanted to install Rishni Ramnarayan and remove the qualified persons who trained all over the world to deal with the SIA. She removed Brigadier, I'm not too sure if his name is Brown or whatever his name was.
Wasn't Kenrick?
At the time.
At the time, yes.
Removed him and installed a clerk from the department to head the SIA.
Which was a major scandal in this country.
Scandalous joke. If she was allowed, if she wasn't challenged by Mr. Imbert, who exposed their mischief, we would have been faced with this clerk running a strategic SIA was strategic in, not too sure what their name was, but they were part of the security apparatus of this country, and the ones that we depend on to bring to us information that would not be normally had by the police.
Well, I think it's intelligence. They all deal with intelligence.
I think the SIS have an.
I think it could be financial intelligence. I'm not certain, but I know intelligence is
part
somewhere
it's their forte.
Yes.
And at that time, it was to install somebody that Kamala feel that she was installing as a puppet head of the. This time, she was breaking these investigators that are coming here to investigate Lysport and EMBD, and their term came to an abrupt halt.
And she had a role in Lysport, and where the investigation would have reached. She had a role in that she played in Parliament right? That would have given the perpetrators, alleged perpetrators, a leg to stand on so that the matter would be where it is today. But we have a prime minister that is very vigilant and insists that persons who thief taxpayers' money,
For the, but in the meeting, not
they must, not just in the meeting, but our prime minister is adamant that persons who steal taxpayers' money in this country
will be held to account.
they must be held to account. He's adamant about that.
For-
But folks, we have to go,
We
to,
have
a
to go to a break.
So we'll take that
So
break now,
the
and we'll come right back.
Right.
Don't go anywhere.
Alright, so you're going to read from?
Hide in the dark to let the lips speak. Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, hey, ha! Find the water's high. Hey, 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 ma! Well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we arrive, bad minds start show up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rags and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag them boom. I defy the odds, just like the Crips just defy the bloods. Like how the wind scream defy the bugs. Like how the tall boats defy the mud, yeah. Them try stop me flow, so me do like Trino. And I rectify the clock. Wet me and put me in electric chair, but all they did was electrify the plugs. Watch me, them go hard, we go harder. I born for this, I'm the Luke Skywalker. There's no one in this business can go on like them are my father. Hey, why move with the red eye? Lightsaber hands is the Viking Jedi. Drive over them like a semi. Hey, 20,000 can rise against we like zombies on Juve morning. Hey, they can't stop the garland. They can't stop the garland long. My name is persistence and you can't stop hurricane from forming. They can't stop the garland. I want in time I tell them. Hey, bad, light back the fire and burn them. Light back the fire and burn them. Hey, give me a vintage. Bam, 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 bam. Light back the fire and burn them. Light back the fire and burn them. Well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we arrive, bad minds start show up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag them. Boom. Welcome the vintage garland. No Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage garland. I don't suffer from shrinkage, darling. Clean to my skin, there's no inkish, darling. Suit a black, not a pinkish.
Hi, I am Maurice Alexander, host of the new series Know Your Representative, a series dedicated to you, the viewer, knowing your representative and what they do for you. Join me on Wednesday, the 6th of April at 6 p.m. right here live on NCBN. Stay tuned.
Trinidad and Tobago, this is the National Patriot Wendell Eversley, hitting you all with the facts. I connect the future with the past, elevating step by step, sweet tea and tea. PNM is the problem. We know UNC is not the solution. Soon, I will be live on NCBN. Trinidad and Tobago, I love you.
Current affairs.
That's
it. That's it.
Welcome, one and all. I am Juliet, alongside my sidekick, Mr. Arouca.
Your partner in crime, Juliet.
And we are going to be live on NCBN on a social media platform near you. IG, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to be
Sensational,
tantalizing,
thought-provoking,
dramatic,
educational,
real,
sometimes spiritual,
suspense,
political analysis.
drama.
Take no prisoners, Juliet. Don't forget that part.
Coming soon.
20,000 can rise against we like zombies.
Vintage, light back your fire and burn them.
them. Light back the fire and burn them now. Give we a vintage garland. Light back the fire and burn them. Light back the fire and burn them now. Give we a vintage garland. Light back your fire and burn them. Light back the fire and burn them.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Juju Love and Mr. Arouca on NCBNTT, streaming live on Facebook, IG, and YouTube. Mr. Arouca, so we continue the discourse with respect to claims made by the opposition leader that the government is spying on citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and she asks that you delete your messages and your emails as soon as you gather them, you collect them, you read them, clear them away because you are being spied upon. This is some really serious
allegations.
Not just allegations, but you know, this behavior is really unbecoming of someone who was once a prime minister and subsequently the head of the
National Security Council.
Yeah.
And under her tenure, we had a scandal that broke out where the DPP office
allegations was being bugged.
Well, it was a little more than allegation.
Okay.
Somebody noticed that they had some infrared signals coming from a building across the road. And upon investigation, they realized that the infrared signals came from a bugging device directly in the DPP's office. It was more than a scandal because the Guard and Emergency Branch, whose job it is to protect persons like the DPP and the Prime Minister and that kind of thing, went in and did an investigation and removed the bug. And Mrs. Basad Bissessa sent in, she was so shocked, she sent in a security company to secure the DPP and his office. And it so happened that it was SIS had a security company he sent in his security company to secure the DPP. Well, I don't know how secure the DPP was after Kamala sent in security to secure him, but and all of this was based on Mr. Ram Logan being fired from
AG's office.
From AG's office.
Yes.
All kinds of bacchanal started to come down after that. The bugging and that kind of thing. And so it was a so the opposition leader ought to know better than what she's saying.
Okay, so let's give the viewers an opportunity to understand why Mrs. Basad Bissessa is behaving the way she's behaving. Although we knew long before she came with these spying claims that her behavior and the opposition's behavior is because Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, is adamant that persons who stole from the public's purse must pay.
Must be held to account. Yeah.
Must be held to account. And two of the major issues involved where corruption is concerned, or allegations of corruption is concerned, is the EMBD and the live sports program. So let me just tell folks, remind folks what the EMBD corruption look like before Mr. Arouca go to the news of the British investigators coming here.
Okay.
And this is Guardian Online, and it's dated Sunday, July 19, 2020. Headline, arrest coming soon in 549 million EMBD
$500 million.
The author or the writer or the reporter is Mark Besant, lead editor, investigative desk. The Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau, ACIB, has cracked the case involving the pillaging of taxpayers' money through a fraudulent scheme involving the Estate Management and Business Development EMBD company in the lead up to the 2015 general election, and arrests are imminent. Over the last year and a half, officers of the ACBI, with assistance from a UK prosecution and investigations firm, Edmonds Marshall McMahon, have been able to piece together complex financial information which forms part of the criminal investigation being pursued by the TNT Police Service. A document obtained by Guardian Media revealed that a prominent politician orchestrated a scheme that resulted in significant funds being secured and spent by the EMBD 6 weeks before the general election on September 7th, amounting to a staggering $549 million, just over $500 million. I'll leave it there. Mr. Arouca, over to you.
Right. Juliet, that statement, that article you read there was from 2020?
Yes.
Well, enter article dated 11th of April 2022.
2 years later.
Today.
Yeah.
Today.
Yes.
The same story comes back up today. We were all wondering, where did this fit of madness come out from?
About
Just so
yes.
the spying talk come
Yes,
out
the spying,
again,
yes.
and the all platform talking about
Yes.
the right to privacy,
See, and
if you
yeah.
and how I could send my WhatsApp and my Facebook, and I can't send an email without Rowley seeing what I'm saying, and all kind of janjat, only to realize it is only about this. British fraud busters back in TNT. Again, 2 years after, a foreign investigative team have returned to Trinidad to continue its investigation into the estate management, business development, EMBD, and live sport.
My
It sounds
God.
familiar?
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar, eh?
Sounds familiar.
They tell me all kind of things, but they forget to tell me this part. The Express understands that the team arrived on a British Airways flight yesterday and is to lead by Miss Kate McMahon, founder of Edmund Marshall and McMahon. Opposition Member of Parliament Rudal Mulilal said he will be speaking about SRP McMahon at the United National Congress meeting tonight. That is the Monday Night Forum. They have received about $40 million from the government to hunt down political opponents in a major scandal. I will speak about the blatant and obscene attempts to prosecute
My math is not
political...
too well. But what's the difference between 40 million
and 500.
549?
No, I want them to tell me that, because these are the people who like to talk about Camille have to account for $120,000.
Mrs. Bissessa said that
just recently.
Yes.
$120,000 Camille had to account for.
Yeah.
This is obscene. But I will speak about the blatant obscene attempts to prosecute political opponents using taxpayers' money.
Okay.
I will tomorrow reveal the nature of the police interview in the United States, and I will do no more, and proceed by which former British citizens became members of the TTPS. According to the company's website, Mrs. McMahon is specialized and duly qualified as a prosecutor.
Highly qualified.
Who typically works in nation states, financial institutions, and high network clients.
Leave it there. We want to go to the calls, Mr. Arouca, because you know we're going to be shifting gear in a short, because our time, we have to manage our time.
Our time.
So the numbers to call, 309-89 24. The lines are open. You can make your calls. We are talking about claims made by the opposition leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, that the government is spying on citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But we want to juxtapose that against recent information that a British team is coming to Trinidad, or is already in Trinidad, to investigate serious allegations of corruption. So tonight I ask viewers and callers, is it that Mrs. Persad-Bissessar has jumped the gun, knowing that these investigators are about to come to Trinidad to continue where they left off just before the COVID-19 event took place, and
they were here in 2019.
Yes, it's timing the process. So the lines are open. In the meantime, you can continue, Mr. Arouca.
Yes, Juliet. So I was informed that Mrs. Persad-Bissessar was alerted some 2 weeks ago of the impending return of Ms. McMahon and her team, who was just here, just a mere 2 years ago, and their return was imminent. Once we open back up normal, the signals were on the board for them to return, because the world have kind of reverted back to normal.
Yes, to normal,
and Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, skillfully or not, had produced another scandal to divert the country's attention from what the real problems are. You know, nobody, Juliet, likes to hear or feel that your communication is being intercepted.
Right.
We as Trinidadians and persons all over the world guard our privacy jealously. But I want to say, in the words of the Attorney General Faris Arawi some time ago, there is no absolute right to privacy. You don't have a privacy right to commit crime.
That's correct.
If you have evidence that the police. Yes.
Good afternoon and welcome, or good evening and welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
Hi, I'm listening to you all, and I want to say is that I think the leader of the opposition will have acknowledged that these individuals are on their way, or they are here to just take it front.
Yes.
As he normally does, to say that, listen, it's all about distraction and create a diversion. But she knew. So she just, whoever leaked information, that is always how they behave.
Operate, yes.
That is how the opposition behave. Right? So that's my comment for this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
So
we have another call. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi, good evening, Miss Davy.
Hi, Jen.
Oh my God, you're rocking those boots, black girl.
Juliet, you know, I didn't notice. I pretended in your Gideon boots here. You intend to kick some. I can't say that on the air. You intend to kick some behind. Jenny, how are you going?
I heard darling, and it's a pleasure to see you. All these settles looking fantastic.
That what we're talking about.
Yeah, really loving it. With regard to what you're all talking about, Ms. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is usually, when you see them under the gun, figuratively speaking, does always bring up distraction. They know that jail is imminent because they know what they would have done. And this government, people voted for this government on the premise that this government said it's going to be dealing with white-collared crime.
Well said.
And we have always been saying that the government should lock up. Well, we know it's not the government, but that is our team. This government had to lock up somebody, because people can lock up, people will say this and that. We know it's not the government. So now that we are seeing things are happening based on the police investigation and all the intelligence happening, the only recourse of Ms. Kamla Persad to do, as usually liars do and mayhem makers do, and people who create chaos and political prostitutes and ink prostitutes. The most thing they could do is create some type of tension in the society. She did it when she wrote to Australia to stop the boat to the opposition. She did it when she wrote to the American ambassador to put sanctions on Trinidad and Tobago. So we shouldn't be surprised. But you know what? Alma K, I usually call her Alma K. It ain't working this wrong, you know.
That's correct.
Because this has been going on too long and we want to see solutions. And it is happening and we are happy. So you wouldn't distract us with this stuff. All governments, all over the world, all agencies that be monitoring call on this. That's how they keep the society safe. America, there are certain words that they call on your phone or type or whatever. You get into problems when you say it. They put them on the watch list one time. So that is nothing new. It's just that the fact that if you enter crime and all that, you are the one who has to be careful with what you're saying and doing. But you live in your life as a right-thinking citizen, free from crime and all that. You are not to worry about other countries that have some monitoring. All the cameras we have all over the place, that is not monitoring the citizens. Everywhere the cameras that working and seeing you when you pass there and all that is not monitoring too.
Yes.
Just come up with that, please. Give we arrest wine to the time, sit down there and wait. All them twitching.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much, Jenny. The lines are open. We are taking your calls, 309-8924. Miss, oh, the call is here. Welcome, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Juliet and Miss Arouca.
Good
this
evening.
is Juliet here, Tito.
Hi,
First, I would
Jamila.
want to say congratulations,
Thank you.
congratulations, and well done. Right,
Thank you.
now we're talking about Mr. Munilal and Madam Kamlaya. They're trying to do what they did with Lousport in the parliament. Talk about it, prejudice it. You understand? And
Yes.
try to undermine it. But Munilal, your days are numbered. You're hiding. You have a new attorney general. He's not friends with nobody. He and nobody ain't friends. So, you will see things start to move because, as you said, Juliet, at the top of it, Dr. Rowley made it clear. If your name called and they have evidence, die the door, sort yourself out.
That's correct.
Simple. He's not about that life at all. So they can say what they like. And this fine. It was Miss Jennifer who was on the phone just now, right?
Yes.
She pointed it out clearly. Every country in the world monitors phone calls since 9/11. All countries, everything from the largest to the smallest country. They monitor the phone calls, and as you said, there's keywords that will. Next thing you know, you open the door in America and you're seeing FBI in front of your door. Homeland Security in front of you asking you a question. So I don't know what Kamala and them coming on about. If you sleep in the doors, you will get bitten
By the fleas.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That is my contribution this evening, and I shall come up and continue listening to you
Thank you
all
very
now.
much, Jamila.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
on Facebook. Uncle.
Thank you, Mr. Arouca.
Yeah, Juliet, I'm saying, the right to privacy must be juxtaposed to the right of the collective.
You have a call.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Good evening, caller. I was giving you the opportunity to say good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I didn't know. Good evening. caller.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Hi, good night. I'm calling in because
Good
I
night.
was listening to the program and something I would like to say, right? There's something called collective right, right? It says that when a person may have an individual right, which is the right to privacy. So I'm thinking that is what Kamala is referring to when she's trying to block and distract the public from the imminent issue.
Yes.
However, the collective right is something that cannot be overshadowed by the individual right to privacy. You understand?
Yes,
it's something that you have to think about, because if you want to kill somebody per se, right? Should the public overlook it because that's your personal right to do what you feel like or do what you I'm explaining this wrong, sorry, bear with me. If it is you decide you have something in your house that you want to hide, right? But that something can inevitably affect those around you. Should we overlook your need for privacy or your right to privacy because you have a right to privacy? Should we now overlook the public safety in that matter?
Caller, let me engage you a little bit. You have just lost your right when the police reach in front of your door. As he reached in front of your door, all that individual right just went out the door. The collective right takes precedence, and that is why we elect government. I take that point, collective right versus individual rights. It must be taken into context. You cannot have your grandson coming in with gun and ammunition and talk about you have an individual right to
not
sleep.
literally her grandson, but
figuratively, and talking about you have a right to sleep in peace. Yeah. When the police come, there is a collective right that trumps your individual right, and Mrs. Prasad Bissessa was supposed to, and I don't expect her to shine the light on these dark areas, but there are a whole lot of dark areas when you start to talk about rights. You don't have a right to do the wrong thing. That is basically. Thank you for that caller. Thank you for that intervention. The collective right versus the individual right, and I have never heard that being mentioned by the attorney, Mr. Hossain, and none of them. They're talking about right. They're only talking about individual right. But what about the collective right?
Right. And one thing to make sure
the caller is still on.
The caller, you are still there?
Caller is still there?
No.
She's got it.
Caller, good night. Welcome.
Good night, caller.
Welcome. Right. I want to give the listeners the confidence that, because I listened to the caller with respect to individual
versus
rights.
Collective rights, which is very important.
Right.
Very important.
Right, but you would have mentioned tonight about those individual...
We have a call?
Good night, welcome.
Good night, caller.
Hello, good night. A pleasant good night.
Good night.
Hello.
Good night. Okay. With respect to the individual rights.
Versus collective right.
Right. Not versus anything. Individual rights in general.
Right.
You would have mentioned earlier that each citizen has the right to privacy. But you were clear in pointing out to the lady.
That's an individual right.
Right. But you were clear in pointing out to the lady. However, if there is reason for the government to use the interception of communication to treat with a particular intelligence matter, you have no rights where that
Let me give you an
concerned.
example. If we are in a studio or in any place, and there's something of interest to the
TTPS.
To the TTPS.
Yes.
Your rights are suspended until.
Exactly.
Your rights are suspended until. Don't let Kamala mislead you into talking about rights and rights that your rights are suspended. There are 2 or 3 basic individual rights that cannot be tampered with. You have a right to life. That is one. You have a right to freedom of movement. Those things are, you're born with those rights. Those rights cannot be tampered with unless,
but
of
it
course,
is being tampered with through criminal behavior.
Unless, of course, if you trip the rights of others, then your rights are suspended until such time. So basically, the only thing that balances off this whole rights talk is that you are entitled to your rights as much as the next person is entitled to his rights, and it balances it off there. We don't talk about rights. Other than that, you have rights as much as the next person does, and that's it there.
Okay.
Let me forget that part there.
Okay,
anything else has to do with law.
Okay, folks, we go for a break. We have a call.
You have a call?
Okay.
Pleasant good night to you, Mr. Arouca and Juliet. Paul Saran here.
Hi, Paul.
Let me tell you guys something. This is new talk, and I would like to see transparency and accountability. We are living in a new era where politics are directed into a different change in this country. We're no longer going to look at the politicians at die at PNM, die at UNC, die at whoever it may be, right? And I just want to lament on the situation that Mr. Arouca stated in terms of the law, and I think was something he was speaking about just now before I called him, because I had issues calling in before. But other than that, I will listen again to understand what he was stating, but I would like to say congratulations again. And in this direction, we are moving forward, because we no longer want to play tricks with the younger generation, right? Yes, we understand our foreparents was under Dr. Eric Williams, but we have to understand the politics in this country. For far too long, politicians have been playing games with us, and we need to stop that with transparency and accountability. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You can
much.
always call back, Paul, when you. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'm kind of blown away by Paul's comment, because I don't think that anything we discuss here is about playing games with anybody. It is public information that there are ongoing investigations into EMBD and live sport. It is public information, even on Hansard record, that the live sports program, even the then Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, stated that she was shocked when the report came out about the findings that came out in that report concerning live sport. So I don't know where the issue of, or the talk of games came up. Paul knows where.
Yeah,
I don't know where the issue of the politics has changed. If he's speaking by chance about what's in Duke, change for what, the worse? Or please give me a break.
But anyway, Paul can explain himself when he come back on. But before we go, you're going?
We're going for a break, and we'll be right back. Yes.
Yeah. How long the break is? 5 minutes?
Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, hey, ha. Find the water's high. Hey, 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 ha. Well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we arrive, bad minds start show up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rags and the flag, them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them boom. I defy the odds, just like the Crips just defy the Bloods. Like how the wind scream defy the bugs. Like how the tall boats defy the mud, yeah. Them try stop me flow, so me do like Trino. And I rectify the clock. Wet me and put me in electric chair, but all they did was electrify the plugs. Watch me, them go hard, we go harder. I born for this, I'm the Luke Skywalker. There's no one in this business can go on like them are my father. Hey, why move with the red eye? Lightsaber axis the Viking Jedi. Drive over them like a semi. Hey, 20,000 can rise against me like zombies on Juve morning. Hey, they can't stop the garland. They can't stop the garland long. My name is persistence and you can't stop hurricane from forming. They can't stop the garland. I want in time I tell them. Hey.
Hi, I am Maurice Alexander, host of the new series Know Your Representative. A series dedicated to you, the viewer, knowing your representative and what they do for you. Join me on Wednesday, the 6th of April at 6 p.m. right here live on NCBN. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Michael Johnson, Councillor for Marabella West, and this is Local Government and You. Here we will be discussing local government law and practice. How does it affect you on the ground in the community? So stay tuned to NCBN, coming soon.
Trinidad and Tobago, this is the National Patriot Wendell Eversley, hitting you all with the facts. I connect the future with the past, elevating step by step, sweet tea and tea. PNM is the problem. We know UNC is not the solution. Soon, I will be live on NCBN. Trinidad and Tobago, I love you.
Them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, hey, find the water side. Hey, 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 well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them go.
So they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. Today my spirit's high, troubles all the door, and my life going nice. So much in the way, but watch me make my moves. Even though they hate, themselves go bring good news. I set out to make it, so nobody can come and put me down. Even if they try, them can't stop it. Destiny calling, nobody can take away what is mine. Even if they try, them can't stop it. On my way, on my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. Don't tell them already, we don't study nobody. When we hit the road, it's all about living out this journey. We all in this thing, no excuse for saying life is no competition, is what all that we could bring. But we know I push on the more they try. My granny used to say things could fall in place. Due time, let them do all they do. Destiny sure to reveal it. I'm telling you, I'm telling you. On my way, on my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. If we stop the hating, we can move together, we can move further. If we stop the fighting, we can move together, we can move further. On my way, on my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. On my way, on my way, on my way. I come here to take my place in life, so they could all act normal. watching the day unfold. Jada books is wonderful. It's something to behold. But if you love life as much as I do, put something in the air now. And if you love Jah as much as I do, put something in the air. Let me see your hands up, everybody. Hands up, everybody. Hands up, everybody. Let me see your hands.
Welcome back. You are listening to Juju Love and Mr. Arouca, my sidekick and partner in crime. We are going to change, we're going to shift gears.
Shift gears.
Right now, and we are going to talk briefly about the issue, the pending response from Chief Secretary Farley Augustine regarding the appointment of Winford James. Because latest development in the matter is that the Chief Secretary is saying that he has documents that suggest that there is no conflict of interest involving the appointment of Mr. James. So it would appear now that he has recanted from what he would have said before.
So those were his words, Juliet?
Those were his words. I listened to it on a video.
In the beginning of this, he said that he by weekend,
by Friday,
he would give a
decision.
Now he's saying he has documents?
Now he's saying that he has documents that suggest to him that there is no conflict of interest. So it would appear that Mr. James is going to continue on as the deputy chairman of the Spell Board. However, I also saw I think as recent as Saturday's Newsday, where the head of the chamber in Tobago Mr. Martin George, who is an attorney, is calling for Mr. James to resign, citing that there is a conflict of interest. The fact being that his brother
perceived or factual. And Mr. George would be talking from a legal point of view and also from a political point of view. How can Mr. Farley, who I don't know what his qualifications are, talk about evidence as far as a conflict of interest is concerned? There are two parameters we're talking about here. We're talking about legal, we're talking about factual conflict of interest or perceived.
Right. And the Chief Secretary, in making the statement that he will treat with the matter, and by Friday last, he would have given us his decision.
Now you have evidence.
He also said that perceived conflict of interest or real conflict of interest,
they are all damaging.
That's correct.
They are all destructive.
He said that, so
but now we have evidence, he's saying. Well, Juliet, that is news to me. That is news because, to be honest, I have been so bombarded. I have had an information overload over this weekend because it's every time you look around, it's some news story. We had incident after incident. The children, two children sharing.
I told you he is floppy Farley. I told you all that.
But
he's floppy, very floppy.
But this is worse because, to my mind, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Augustine was supposed to just drop that ball because it was a little too hot. To my mind, what is the real bugbear with Mr. James taking up that position, and he must take that position?
Right.
What is it then?
Why? Because Martin George would have made the point.
He said he can serve in another places.
So again, why does the Chief Secretary and Mr. James feel that he must be on this spell board? Why?
I don't know. When you said that now, I had no idea. I thought, to my mind, it was
a done deal where
Mr. Augustine was going to leave
do
that
the
ball.
honorable thing.
Do the honorable thing.
But how can he do the honorable thing? This young man presents himself, and again we come back to Paul, because Paul called to talk a certain nonsense about PNM and your grandmother, and this is not the time. Paul cannot call here and present Watson Duke as any viable option to the people of Trinidad.
That's what he was doing there?
But so what is he talking about? a new change,
transparency and accountability.
A new era. Yeah. A new era of what? Dance politics? Watson Duke is a dance. But are you going to impose a dance on the people of Trinidad and Tobago? The people of Tobago accepted. They accepted to have a dance lead them. Are you telling me that the entire population must be so gullible to this nonsense about time for PNM and UNC? It is not just about time for UNC and the PNM to go. It is about time for persons who want to replace both the UNC and the PNM know that they have to step up to the plate. And right now, Watson Duke is not stepping up to the plate.
Juliet, when did Mr. Augustine make this statement? Sometime today? Sometime today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday? Well, let me tell you, to my mind, I also saw that Mr. Duke had a launch, and from what I heard and just glossing out, but just glossing out over it a little bit, it was a relatively good showing. I think Mr. Farley is standing up on Mr. Duke launching here, because I don't understand that bold-facedness. I think they find that they get some kind of traction. Well,
Jack Warner got the same traction, even better.
Well, just as I was talking that, just as a point of, I now remember, I see somebody on social media showing me a jersey with $400, saying that Mr. Duke is paying them $400 to walk in San Fernando West. Somebody sent that to me, you know. I was surprised. I want to know, already? This bacchanal already about money in Jersey don't start already? But I think Farley standing up on something else, because to my mind, as a political aspirant, as they are, they have been through the mills. Let
me tell you something.
Dr. James, that was easy to drop. You had it right.
Yes.
Just drop it and leave it.
Exactly.
But to stand up on it here, now they bold face.
Yes.
They bold face.
And it was easy to drop on the backdrop that persons are saying loudly to the Chief Secretary, listen, you said that you were going to be better than the
Let me fix this.
Let me fix this.
Right.
Their words.
Let me fix this.
You have an opportunity to fix it. Why are you beating around the bush with this?
Well, I would love to hear Attorney George rebuttal or response to Mr. Farley's now standing up that he has evidence that there is no conflict of interest.
And latest news coming to me as we are on that front with political parties springing up and coming to Trinidad and launching.
Well, God, that to me, that had my head spinning, Juliet.
On Liz Williams' page, is a reporter, Gary Griffith, to launch political party, says Prime Minister Rowley already shaking in his boots. I wonder if it's a boots like mine. My focus now is to remove him from his very own seat in his constituency, where he is not in touch with the people, he said, via the Express newspaper. Former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith is promising his party, the National Transformation Alliance, will bring about a tsunami of change.
Where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that BS before? I thought he and Philip Alexander was friend. Philip ain't telling the kind of cut backside he get down there challenging Dr. Rowley. The people here, the people vehement, as they hear you're going.
So let me just ask this question. And this is just a little joke, because remember we promised a little comedy.
But I've already been warned that I can't go too much into it. But so I not making no joke today.
It could be a clean joke.
A clean joke, yeah.
I just want to put this out here. Yeah. When Gary forms his party, can we expect cockroaches to be lining up to vote for him?
Well, I hope so, because he's going to, even cockroaches have a voting finger.
Because I don't see.
You know anything about cockroach?
I don't see people going to vote for him. I see cockroaches.
Juliet, you know what you think about cockroaches? They all carry a voting finger.
No more. How many?
No, the ones we talking about is the one that carry one voting finger.
The one who's speaking about?
Yeah, the ones Gary would be interested in.
So wait, let me ask you something. Though the ones that Gary's speaking about, or you are claiming he's speaking about, cockroaches, you're telling me that they would be literally going to the voting booth and vote for Gary Griffith?
Well, Gary certainly.
Knowing that he considers them cockroaches?
Juliet, I am not too sure what Gary, but I know what he would need. He would need cockroaches with a voting finger.
He would need some cockroach repellent. That is what he would need.
Whatever. Anyway, Juliet, seeing that he and Philip Alexander tried that same stunt in 2020, you know, and he went and challenged Dr. Oli.
Well, they say it's a coming together of Gary, not his friend Philip, Gary and Mr. Duke. But Mr. Duke on last night news said that he will not be joining PDP with anybody, right? So
I don't believe that.
He kicked Gary to the curb.
I don't.
He kicked Gary to the curb. He said he will not be joining because what he know of collisions and alliances, they don't work. They have failed. So that is one thing I have to give him credit for. He's absolutely correct where that is concerned. But we all know that Watson Duke is operating on the behalf of the United National Congress.
Right. And
we know that for certain.
Right. So let me tell you, Watson Duke said he's not joining anybody. But he also said, after the election, we go talk. So he's joining. He's not joining. He's simply saying, we go join depending on what the election says. Watson Duke is a political opportunist of the highest order, and we know that.
And anyone who understands our politics. History would know that this is really a two-party configuration, right? Based mainly on race, race voting, right?
Okay,
if we want to agree. So naturally, for a new party to emerge, right? Like Duke and Gary's to emerge and create any upset for any one of the sides, it would definitely take a tsunami, right? And we know that is not going to happen. So definitely he will have to join. They will have to align themselves with one of the forces, and we know definitely the PNM is not going to be one of the forces.
There's no other way to beat the PNM. You have to join forces. And they all know that. They know the only way to beat the PNM is that they would have to join forces.
So Mr. Duke is actually coming into predominant black PNM territory so that they can upset the vote to assist the United National Congress. And it all has to do with what we were discussing before, people who have questions to answer and they do not want to answer those questions. They want to be able to get back into government and treat with those issues without being arrested.
Held to account.
And held to account.
I think Mr. Duke was more aggressive than that. He's saying that an early election is going to be called. He's so aggressive.
Well, Kamala said it as well.
He's so aggressive. I wonder what is frightening them for the next 3 years. I wonder if it's these forensic investigators that come here, that come here. I wonder if it's that, because it can't. Why everybody? What are they afraid of? The government was duly elected for 5 years. They have done 2. They have 3 more. Dr. Oli look like he going anyway to them?
No.
So they didn't get our message. The last meeting it had, when he made it, for the avoidance of doubt, he made it lucidly clear that we are not going anywhere. And we are not backing down. They didn't hear that?
Yeah, he said we are not backing down.
They didn't hear that? Apparently they don't review their tapes. They should simply go and review the meeting. They would realize that this is not going to happen. We are in for the next 3 years. The work that these forensic professionals are in Trinidad for will be completed. They have done a fair amount of their work before, you know.
Yes.
It will be completed.
Yes.
And all we need is some arrest.
I really believe they are at their final stage.
They are at the final stage.
Because although they were not here and they were outside, I believe that they were doing their work.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, doing their investigations.
I read the article and it said that they have information. They're now looking for evidence. As you know, information is not evidence.
Evidence, correct.
So they come to do, and I want to alert all who might be part and parcel of what is going to come down, the ton of bricks that is going to come down. Pay close attention to the plea bargain act. That is your way out. Your way out is to go fast.
Vincent Nelson.
The Vincent Nelson route. Head for the Vincent Nelson route. Sell them out. Sell them out. Don't care. Save your family. Save yourself jail time.
$549 million.
Vince Nelson, matter finish, you know, he paid $2 million and he comfortable.
Yes. Head
for the Vince Nelson direction. Plea bargain your way out of this. Leave these conduits on them to answer for billions. It's not that, Juliet. It is billions of dollars unaccounted for.
Mr. Arouca, do you think that the people of Trinidad and Tobago really understand what the opposition, yes, what the opposition UNC is up against with respect to corruption between 2010 to 2015, and why the opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar is behaving?
I think we have no idea. I think we have no idea.
We're clueless.
We have no idea. We have no idea. It is amazing how I think Dr. Williams explained us our personality properly. We have a carnival mentality. We have no idea the damages that was done and continue to be done by the opposition, because
5 minutes, yeah, we're running up. 5 minutes.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
They misbehaved themselves in public office all through their tenure, and after they came out, they have to protect and cover their backsides until they get back inside.
That's correct.
And this is the destruction that we're being faced with. Every morning, Kamala throwing a tantrum.
And why they want to go back inside?
Limping, going.
Yeah.
You have to told she to go, but she going.
But she going.
She going. She would not go and hug up them make-believe grandchild. She has some make-believe grandchild somewhere. Why she ain't go? Why she ain't go and hug up that make-believe grandchild and leave me alone? The woman, I have never seen this level of evil.
Bankruptcy.
Evil. This lady is clearly not in the best health. What is driving the opposition leader to come every Monday morning, Monday night, Sunday evening, and twice during the week to lie to us blatantly in our faces? And when you watch somebody had to touch over a little, clearly she is no longer, to my mind, physically capable of getting. What is driving the individual personality to continue in a space where she is clearly not physically able to continue this onslaught, to come out every time?
Well, to tell you something,
what do you think as a woman?
Physically unable, because to my mind, a person could be on a wheelchair and that person could be very effective in what they do. So physically, I would not even really pay much attention to that.
Her physical state.
Although I have noticed, as you rightfully said, that she can hardly make 2 steps. But
without being assisted.
Right. But mentally, Mr. Arouca and viewers, mentally, you have to ask yourself the question, and Vasan Bharat would have said it a couple of weeks ago. She seems to be bipolar.
She's slipping. She's slipping.
She's slipping.
She's slipping.
Yes.
She's slipping.
She seems to be bipolar. His words, not mine. And she's bordering on insanity.
That bad?
That bad.
That bad.
She's having a meltdown.
That bad. You know, and I'm juxtaposing my statements with Dr. Rowley in our meeting, saying that his grandson came to him and took a picture, and he was playing with him. I find that is such a, you know, a loving scenario he painted. Why cannot Kamala come and tell me she grandchild come? And what does this make? This make believe grandchild Kamala have? You mean it still exists, or it don't no longer?
She has a grandson.
She has
a grandson.
Yeah, okay, let me forget.
It's all fun in the politics.
Yeah, it's all fun. It's all fun. But I think something else is driving the opposition leader, and and to my mind, is the level of corruption that they engage themselves in. And Dr. Rowley said it. He said she's leading a band of criminals.
Okay, and that's a wrap. I give you the opportunity to close off and thank our viewers.
To wrap and close, Juliet, do we have an hour, half an hour?
No, it's time. Yeah.
It's time?
Yeah.
It was so fun. You're joking.
Yeah.
But we pay for our hour again. I will back my money.
That's misinformation. So you have the opportunity to close off.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and viewing and participating. We love the callers. We appreciate all the callers. Paul, please call back. I think Juliet kind of misunderstood what you were trying to say.
I didn't understand what Paul said at all. I didn't misunderstand.
You sure?
Word.
Paul is my friend, you know. Don't play the thing, you know. Paul, assure
you really
that Juliet...
You think I have time with Paul and nonsense? Paul will watch Watson Duke and Gary Griffith and
talk about accountability
and tell people about a change is coming. Change where? Exchange, Paul. Sorry.
Juliet, where have we heard this before?
Mr. Arouca, we have to leave it there. Folks, we love you. Talk to you all on Wednesday when we will be back at 7:30
p.m. And we go deal with, because Julia, the way how these things come in.
Yeah, nah, nah. Suit, we stand out in a Babylon,